What's on the agenda for today?
One of the things I saw in the news just today, like fresh at the top of my head, is how some doctors and scientists are talking about, hey, let's create a specific kind of vaccine medication for the Omicron variant.
Hmm.
And for me,
Oh no, here we go again.
right,
COVID stuff.
I really don't see any. Well, maybe I don't want to say I don't see any value in it because these are professionals talking to business, right? However, we know how quickly this thing mutates, and sure, it's good to create preventative measures, right? But what's the chance that when this thing is ready to go to market, and I use that word market intentionally, right? Because I feel like this is the motivator. So
Hmm.
when this thing goes out there to the market, there might be another evolved version of this virus. Are they now going to say they want to create like a new vaccine tailored to whatever this new version is called, right?
Yeah, especially like I mean, there's still the Delta variant as well. Is there a new vaccine tailored to that? Like, I mean, look at the flu, right? Usually you get one shot that can tackle a
Exactly.
bunch of different strains. Shouldn't it be the same thing for
Exactly.
COVID vaccine? You can't expect us to take like, different shots for like all these different strains. Like that's just not sustainable. And personally, I'm not even willing to do that.
Yeah, saying, I got the email talking about my booster shots ready. As much as I want to get the booster, I don't know if the timing is perfect because
Mm,
I know how the the kind of effect the vaccine has on people.
exactly. Side
I don't think
effects
I'm
and
ready for that
whatnot.
now with what I have lined up in the next few days. I'm not ready to take a chance and like be completely knocked out, you know? And
Yeah,
so,
that's how I feel as well when it comes to booster. Because I'm like, you know what? I mean, like how I felt when I took the last one. Like I don't want to be feeling that again.
I know,
Do you know
man.
what
It really does knock the wind out of you. But that's just it on this story about Omicron. I know it's something that we can still follow and find out more, and just hear more professionals talk about it. But honestly, the skeptic in me is certain this is just some kind of money driven venture.
I mean? Cash cow.
It's all about the muchos dineros.
Mm,
We can always. I think we should just go ahead and segue into AFCON and Nigeria's unfortunate exit from the competition.
yeah, I mean after such a good run, we're playing Egypt.
Yeah.
Who else was it? Senegal.
Was it Senegal? I know it was it Tunisia we lost to? Yeah.
Um, of the tournament, but yeah, after like such a good group stage run. I mean that's how it is for football, though. Like like you lose one game and
So I saw the game and I think the ref was a bit harsh.
mm,
But so far the tournament has had the officials for the most part have been criticized because of the kind of officiating so far this tournament, right? There's literally a
mm,
coach who I said coach, a referee who ended the game before 90 minutes on two separate occasions in one match. I was watching the game and Alex Iwobi came on. Sure, it should be one of the more experienced players on the team, right? He plays for one of the top teams in England, Everton,
mm,
top team with air quotes, right? But
with
that
air quotes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see what happens at the end of the tournament. I guess Egypt for the win probably.
maybe I'm
They
just
have
waiting for
won the
Salah.
most, right? I think they have 7 wins or so far.
Oh, that's a good run of
In the
form.
AFCON. Yeah. As a
Premier League.
team, I don't think the team is technically that strong, but I mean they do have Salah, who's African Player of the Year.
I mean,
But
Cameroon have been playing well.
mm,
Cameroon have been
yeah,
playing really,
exactly.
really
It's
well.
more than the team is
Yeah,
more than one person, so let's see how
exactly.
that goes.
And even Sadio Mane, I know I think he was involved in the collision in their last game, but he also scored, in the same game. So that's pretty good for him. I'm glad he's doing it for his country, not just
Yeah.
his club.
I feel like Sadio Mane is probably a stronger player to have on your team, to be honest.
Why? Because it's a workhorse.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
in the AFCON,
fair
you know.
enough. One of the big stories that came out in tech in the past, I want to say, couple of weeks,
Mm.
was when Microsoft, scooped up Activision Blizzard,
Oh yeah,
and it's
money
such a big
switching
deal.
hands.
Yeah, this is Microsoft's biggest acquisition, right? This is the same company that bought Skype, bought
Hmm.
GitHub, right? Literally the second largest company, in the planet, and this deal still went through, where companies like Intel are still like struggling to pick up ARM technologies, ARM, right?
Hmm.
You have you have Microsoft just like dropping cash and picking up
I mean, the
essentially.
evaluation has been going up on a steady rise, that
Oh
Fortune
yeah.
500. Yeah, I mean, I heard some rumors, that, well, some people had concerns about the takeover of Activision, in terms of Call of Duty, and they're wondering if, um, Microsoft might monopolize that game and have it maybe only on the Xbox, and PC platforms. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Man, I think it'd be very short-sighted to make a game as big as Call of Duty like a Microsoft only exclusive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it would be very short-sighted because, I saw a tweet from, I think it was the president of Xbox talking about how he had just gotten off the phone with Sony. This is after the acquisition, right?
Hmm.
And he went on to say, we have a strong relationship with Sony and we want to keep that partnership going. And he literally mentioned that games are still going to be released on the Sony platform to try and allay people's fears. The thing Microsoft I know will do efficiently here is to market all of these titles as, even though good on other platforms, it is going to be best on Xbox and Windows. So think about Game Pass and how it's essentially Netflix for gaming. You just pay a certain monthly fee and you have access to a ginormous gaming library. Instead of spending $60 on the PS4 or $80 on the PS5 to get Call of Duty, you
Mm.
get it for a one-time monthly fee of, I think, what is it, $10 or something? Is a ridiculously cheap subscription, right? I bet you people are gonna think twice now before picking up a PS5, knowing that going forward, some of their favorite games are now owned by Sony's biggest competitor in the console market.
Yeah, for sure.
It is one to look at. You talked about the share price going up. It makes me want to just talk about what's been happening with the stock market lately. Everybody's
Let's not
seeing red.
let's not talk about that.
it,
Let's
it is
just keep
inevitable,
going back.
man. Bro, it's inevitable. I feel like people listening are affected too, right? Like you open it and you see red.
I've not been looking at my profile. I've been trying to ignore it, but it's just so hard because everyone be talking about this, talking about that. It's just so hard to
Yeah,
ignore it. But yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I still just haven't lost. Like I haven't lost real. Like I've lost money, but it's
yeah.
been money from my profits just because last year was so good with AMC and whatnot, right? That the
Right,
profit was just a lot, so it just covers
right.
probably any future losses that I may have. So
Mm,
to that extent, I am covered. But at the same time, I'm losing money that I could be, enjoying, right?
mm,
But yeah, it's just crazy. Everything is just down, 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 down. Like it's just crazy. Meanwhile, we have inflation going on. Everything's getting expensive. Interest rates are
true.
about to go up. Stock market is crashing down. Like the housing market is going crazy. Like what is really going on?
You and me both, my brother. We just talked about Sony, and as soon as the announcement of the acquisition of Microsoft came out, I think they lost like over 20% of market share of, like, stock valuation. I think in the following trading days, there's a saying like, whenever in doubt, always zoom out. Especially if you invested like a couple years ago, and if you try and see your gains over 2 years, it's very likely green compared to if you're checking over 2 weeks, right? I know we talked about the vaccine earlier with Omicron or whatever, but you and I were conversing earlier about the truck driver mandate for vaccination
Yeah,
and how it's
that's
affecting
coming.
produce.
Yeah, I mean that's coming into effect soon. I think a bunch of truck drivers are actually driving towards Ottawa now to go protest the mandate for them to have vaccines. And I mean, it's what's in the news now is that we're going to be expecting some delays as, the mandate comes into effect. So, some drivers may not be able to cross over just because they don't have the vaccine. So that might affect essentially the supply of, service goods and services, right? Like, if they're bringing in, um, you know,
Yeah.
food or whatever from the US or transporting it across the country or whatever that might look like, it may ripple down. It may have a ripple effect and cause some delays, cause some shortages as well. I know I saw in the news as well, like some premiers were talking to some U.S. state governors, probably trying to see how they can mitigate this. I mean, we'll see how it develops, right? We'll see how it goes.
Man, honestly, I just find it weird because of the timing. If they were going to mandate this thing for truck drivers, if they had done it like 10 months ago or 15 months ago, I don't
Yeah.
think it would have as much backlash.
Everything is also different in different places. Like, here we're like mandating now for like truck drivers who are essentially essential workers, to be honest, in this time and age. And then
Hmm.
we have countries like like Britain, like the UK, that is probably looking to scrap everything COVID. They're looking to cancel it and just go back to normal life.
Oh, yeah, they're going to treat it like the flu. I've been hearing like, a lot of
Yeah,
EU countries want to do that.
yeah. So like the UK is the one that's actually said they're gonna do. I think they have a date. I don't remember when that date is.
Hmm.
Either February or March, where they wanna scrap it. And right now, also coming up, when you travel there, once you have a test, you don't have to quarantine or anything once you're in the country. Just have your test, fly there, and go about your business.
Yeah, eventually life has to go on, right? We have to live our life. I know you heard about some of the story coming out from the royal family, Prince Andrew, this and that, and I feel like you know more about that story than I do. You want to share?
Yeah, like I was saying, when the stories first came out and about Ghislaine and all of those people involved, I was a bit like, oh, nothing's gonna happen to the royal family people, like you know what I mean? Like I was like, they're covered, like they do all sorts of nonsense and it gets covered up. Um,
Yeah.
who's gonna put a member of the royal family in jail or whatever, right? But I mean, I saw some drastic actions taken by Buckingham, which I was like, oh wow, I was like in shock. I was like, okay, maybe they might be able to face repercussion. I think the HRH was removed from Prince Andrew. He's removed
Interesting.
from royal duties now. He's no longer doing any royal duties. Um, and all of those things. And yeah, he's obviously been charged to court. And now I saw today as well, he's also deleted his social media accounts or deactivated them or whatever, right? So no more HRH, no more, royal title or whatever it is. No more official duties on behalf of the Queen. None of those. So interesting to see how this unfolds. And if he gets convicted, that's gonna be crazy. That would be breaking news.
Oh yeah, especially with taking all these titles away from him, kind of opens him up to a certain level of vulnerability, right?
Hmm.
Unless, of course, it's a roundabout way of giving him a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. I mean, he's always going to be a prince because that's why he was born a prince, right? But as far as his royal highness, they can take that away, right? So
Oh
um,
man.
that's already taken over. But I mean, let's see how it unfolds. I still don't really have any faith that they're still really under the law or touchable by the law, even though that's been taken away. I can
Yeah.
always see the royal family as above the law, to be honest, even though people might think otherwise. But it's like the Queen. Like, is she under the law? I don't know. It's Her Majesty's police, Her Majesty's army, the royal guard, the royal court. It feels like she owns it. So
Mm.
it's hard to say.
She
Like,
probably owns the law.
exactly.
But yeah, I think we should talk about one movie before we wrap. I saw Eternals. I know you've seen it too. And for me, at the end, even though some of the action sequences were pretty nice, I left,
Mm.
watching that film feeling ah, like there could be more. How did you like it?
It could be more. Yeah. I mean, so far the Marvel movie that has sort of done a good job and maybe not let down is Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man's ending was amazing. They paid off like the whole comic book arc and everything. Eternals, not so much. There was a lot that was introduced. Some things were taken away. Um, Not necessarily paying off that fanfare from the comics, right?
Mm,
Um, it wasn't as engaging. The story wasn't as believable, I want to say, or
I see.
that's not the word I'm looking for. Not believable because you watched it, but it wasn't, you know, an endearing storyline. It wasn't compelling. That's what I'm looking for. It wasn't a compelling story,
Yeah,
right?
you didn't feel
Um,
any stake for the main characters, like there was anything majorly at stake.
exactly. Yeah, there
I'm
was
saying.
nothing there, and then okay, they destroyed um the spoiler warnings, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, let's
everyone's
just give a
watched it,
spoiler
but
warning. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but the Not the Eternals, but what are the ones that are above them? The Celestial, the Celestial that was being birthed in
Yeah,
the earth or whatever. Like, okay, his head and his hand came out the earth, and okay, just like this big thing in the middle of the world. Like, what? Like, you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, okay, this thing is meant
and
to be bigger than the earth when it's birthed. So how's that even happening?
yeah. I
But
mean, it's and this is post Thanos finger snap, right?
mm,
This is supposed to be. I don't know where it fits in all of these Marvel films and TV shows coming out, but I feel like the more I mean, when the next season of Loki comes out, and then we see, some other stuff coming out from that universe, maybe we'll find out more. But about the Celestials, the Titans, I know you mentioned they even swapped out their origin story a little bit compared to the comics, like how they're created. Uh, is that true?
yeah, I mean, in this version, the Eternals feel like sort of like sentient robots, right?
Right.
Feel like robots that are created by the Celestials or Arasham or whoever created them. Whereas, like, previously in the comic, they were biological beings that could give birth, right? Like, for example, Thanos was meant to be an offspring. Um, he's essentially an eternal. He's an eternal with deviant genes. That's what Thanos is, right? So
Interesting.
his father was, on a just not on Earth, eternal, just on a different planet, Saturn, Moon, or wherever he's from.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they've sort of changed that a bit, right? Um, yeah, interesting to see what they do with it in the coming. Um, maybe they have a plan. Who knows? We'll see what they do with it in coming sequels, right?
Yeah, and the ending was kind of dope, right? One of the post-credit scenes, with Kit Harington's character.
So essentially, Blade is coming back to the MCU,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, it's been announced for a while, but hopefully we'll be seeing that soon. Obviously, COVID's pushed production years back,
Yeah.
so I haven't really got into this phase of Marvel yet. But yeah, Blade is definitely coming soon. And interesting to see what they want to do with him, though, like in terms of working with the Black Knight.
Exactly, because Kit Harington's character is pretty obviously Black Knight at this point,
Yeah,
and apparently, I was reading up on it, and whoever wields that sword continues to run mad. Essentially, it will be interesting to see, how Kit Harington just sneaks his way into this universe. I'm excited.
yeah, I think Doctor Strange is the next movie in the MCU that comes out. So that will probably explain a little bit more of multiverse or whatever and how those work in the MCU and yeah, and all of those, right? So we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. And this bit, what we're gonna be keeping an eye on for the rest of the week is what's happening in Ukraine.
They already have troops on standby now, waiting for this whole Russia situation. I mean, Russia tried to do this before a few years ago with Ukraine.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows how it's gonna unfold,
We'll definitely
right?
keep an eye on this one, and I feel like it's something we're still going to talk about probably next week when we know more, because there's gonna be a lot of talking and back and forth, and troops moving across lines or whatever, but nothing has really happened, thankfully. Hopefully, peace reigns.
Hopefully.
All right, so that's it for this episode of Backyard Conversations. If you stayed to the end, you're the real one. Thank you very much. As always, you know where to find us. Anywhere there's podcasts, just look for Backyard Conversations. Ask
On
Siri.
all
Siri.
platforms.
Yeah, ask your Siri, your Alexa. They'll hook you up. And please keep
Yeah.
those 5-star ratings coming. We love those ones.
All
And
right. Until next time.
until next time.